Okay, sus chords. This is going to be pretty quick, I hope. Pardon my voice. Sus chords are when, well, here's what the idea of a suspension comes from, and that's what sus is short for. It comes from this. Say you're in the key of D, and you're coming from the 4 chord, the G. You're going to the 1. Common enough, but then say you do this. As you go to the 1, you retain this note, which belongs to a G chord, not a D chord. It's a suspension. And then you may resolve it like that. Now what you're resolving it to is the 3rd of the D chord. And this would be the 4 if you're counting up from D as a 1. Right, this is a D chord. We're in the key of D. The chord is made of root 3/5. So it's as if instead of playing root 3/5, you're playing root 4/5. Because here's your 3. Da, da, da. Here's one way to figure out that it's your 3. Just one of any number of ways. If you know how a triad sounds and you can sing it to yourself. Da, and you identify the first note. Da, 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 da. That's supposed to be my 3rd. Which one of these is that? No. Which one? No. Yeah, that's it. You know, there you go. So right above that is going to be a 4. 3, 4. Sus4. That's a D sus4 chord. A D sus2 chord, well, you can guess, is there. And here's free falling. And later it goes. Anyway, those are some sus chords. And they're useful for, especially useful for transitions between chords. But they're also really useful just for creating tension and a sense of unresolvedness that maybe you do want to resolve, but then maybe you don't. It's totally up to you. And they work for minor chords, they work for major chords, and if we're talking about sus4s and sus2, which is all I'm talking about in this video, then they're identical for major and minor. Here's what I mean by that. D, D major sus4, D major sus2. Here's D minor. Sus4, sus2. Same. Why? Because when I'm hitting, in at least this case, when I'm playing the D there, I'm not playing the 3rd. So because I'm not playing the 3rd, I'm playing the 4 instead, the 3rd is what gives a chord its quality as major or minor. Remember we talked about this in the major and minor video? So without the 3rd, you can't tell whether it's major or minor or not. You can infer it from context, but you can also use that inference as a surprise for the listener, because the listener is doing that inference. Say you've established that you're in the key of D, you've played chords around it that sound like they're in the key of D, and you're going back to D, but it's a D sus4. Now you know what to expect. You expect this, but listen to this. Surprise. Okay? So you can use it as an element of surprise, or you can just use it for transitions like this. Here, isn't that great? You can lead into the 4 by borrowing a note from it ahead of time, so you're anticipating the 4. Tension resolved to a new chord. So creating tension and then resolving it just makes the transition, whatever the transition is, more powerful, more meaningful to the listener. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. You know, instead of just jumping straight to the 4, which still sounds great, obviously. Nothing at all wrong with that, but you're building up to something that way. Okay, so keep that in mind. Same with, you can do it in any key. You know, here's C. Hear that? Instead of just, which still sounds great. But you can also do it the other way around, as I showed you, beginning with the G to the D. Here's the F, which is the 4 of C. Anyway, I think that's everything. Yeah, for Sus's. Obviously, there's lots of them that I'm not going to show you right now. But you can do it on piano too. I'll show you one more thing real quick. And let's take C, for example. One of the chords I play most often. My third happens to be right here. And so my Sus4 is here, Sus2 is here. If I'm just sitting on that C for a while, I'll do stuff like that. Or I'm just hitting those Sus's in passing. I'm just kind of playing around that third. And it just creates something else going on while I'm sitting on that C chord. So that's another thing you can do.